Joe Hopkins here, and new music is bullshit. Why would I say that? It's not because I got anything against modern music or new artists. Here, grab a cold one, listen to my rant. We'll rant. Because I'm ranting today. I got my rant going on. New music is bullshit because of the record labels, the music industry. That is my opinion on things. There's a lot of good music out there that people are making right now, and so much of it is either independent or semi-independent. And the reason why I say new music, I mean like this top 40, what's being promoted by the record labels, what's being put out there. Because let's face it, man, if you want to get big and stay on top, right, you kind of need the record labels at your back. That's the way it's always been. You need them promoting you, pushing you. That's how you get on the radio, because they own the radio. And let's admit it, the record labels have bought into all the streaming services. They learned their lesson from Napster, and they bought in. They finally figured it out at some point and bought into streaming. And in case you haven't noticed, they seem, these labels, to be making all of their money off a handful of artists. Now, when I was younger, and I know that sounds like an old man kind of rant, when I was a kid, but the truth is years ago, you had whole musical movements. You had movements, and it tended to start with a groundswell, and at some point the record labels would finally catch on, usually 5 years after this was already a thing. And then they'd start signing these bands, and you'd have a musical movement. It almost always started with like a grassroots thing, like with like with rock and roll. Rock and roll started in the 50s with race music, right? It was the black people. They had this rhythm and blues, rock and roll kind of thing going on. And it took a while for the mainstream labels to catch on to it and create their white counterparts to it, right? And we got Elvis. I like Elvis, Buddy Holly, and people talk about cultural appropriation, but the truth is regardless of race, religion, creed, sex, whatever, people can write songs, people can be creative, and they can use the new sound effectively, and people did. And the same thing happened in the 60s with the whole blues folk revival thing, and then the hippie rock and roll movement really took off, and once again it took the labels a little while to catch up to it, but then they realized, hey, this is a thing. It became a musical movement, right? The rock and roll movement in the 70s, the hair metal thing in the 80s, the labels caught on. I mean, really the whole, what they consider hair metal, right? That whole hard rock thing really started in the 70s and became a thing in the 80s. It just took the labels a little while to catch up. It does. It always does. When grunge became a thing, I mean, dude, Alice in Chains already had a platinum-selling album on the charts. The alternative music scene was already going strong, right? Jane's Addiction and Red Hot Chili Peppers and Butthole Surfers, they were already out there doing all this stuff before Nirvana. Okay, it just took the labels a while to catch up and realize what was going on. But then alternative and grunge became a movement, and it became a mainstream movement. That's the thing. It's on the radio. It's on MTV. It's on the mass media. You see it. You know it exists. We all have the same experiences to a great degree because it's curated, right? To a degree. And the same thing has happened throughout time, right? New Wave. Remember New Wave in the 80s? I really think New Wave took off because these were people that were making videos already when MTV became a thing. So MTV needs music videos, and the New Wave artists are already making them. Them and a lot of like those punk artists from late 70s, CBGB kind of artists were making videos, right? Real artistic bunch. So it becomes a musical movement, and then the record labels catch up, but that's what happens, right? That's how it always happened. But now in our modern day, everything is so fragmented. Everything is everywhere. You learn about new artists on YouTube. You find stuff on Spotify, that kind of thing now, especially YouTube is so big for emerging artists, and so many of them are going completely independent. So they're not on the radio. It's not a musical movement anymore. And I like it. I like the fact that everybody's kind of doing their own little things, and I can discover all this stuff. But it means that when you turn on the radio, you're not getting that musical movement. You're not getting the experience. We don't, as a culture, as a group, kind of have the same touchstones anymore. The record labels right now seem to be relying solely on a handful of artists to make most of their money for them. And there's only so much that, you know, Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter can make for them, right? We have new artists that are, you know, making it on these labels now that are getting big, like The Warning. I really like them. Like Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's really blown up, and I like his stuff. You know what I mean? Or Peso Pluma. I like him. I like his stuff. I think it's pretty cool, right? But there's only so much that the record labels can suck off of these people. And country music's even worse. Top 40 country literally is still a thing, right? Rock and roll has given up on the top 40 thing. You have the classic rock stations. That's the format. Rock and roll, that's what you got. There are some exceptions out there, but most rock stations are classic rock. And they'll throw new stuff in there. Good on Youngblood. Doing that album with Aerosmith, they've gotten on classic rock radio. That's where the money is. Good on you, dude. I like your stuff. I think you're doing a good job. And most artists, most like older artists like Aerosmith, when they do a collaboration with someone younger, it's usually crap. But in the case of this Aerosmith Youngblood album they just did, that's actually really good. I listened to it. I really like it. He really fits in with them. Youngblood could be the lead singer for Aerosmith and it would work really well. Nothing against Steven Tyler, man. That dude, you listen to the two of them singing back and forth and you realize how much better Steven Tyler actually is. The dude's amazing. But yeah, that's pretty good stuff. But how much of a musical movement is there anymore? It's there, but it's not a unified thing like it used to be. You know what I mean? The idea of new music, this new musical movement is just, it doesn't exist. When I was my kid's age, I was listening to the same music my friends were listening to. I was listening to the same music that everybody was listening to. It's what was on the radio, right? My kid is not doing that. She's listening to this, apparently, she's listening to this EDM stuff that's apparently getting pretty big. One of her favorites is Femtanol, with an M, F-E-M. Instead of fentanyl. I like it. I listen to it. I've listened to it with her, and I really dig it. I really like it a lot. But it's not a major musical movement. It's not like this is something that's popular, but it's not top 40 popular. And it's interesting to see what pops up on the Spotify top 40, right? And you'll have some of these independent artists pop up on there, but it's not like it used to be where somebody will hit the top 40 and just be on there for a while. Or they'll have multiple songs in a row, like that'll make the top 40, they'll make the top list. You know what I mean? Now, man, week by week, it completely changes, except for a handful of artists. You'll have, like, if Bruno Mars just put something out, it'll stay on there for a while. If Billie Eilish just put something out, it'll stay on there for a while. The handful of artists that the industry seems to be relying on. And, you know, I like the new music, but I really, I wish that this stuff was the way it used to be, where these new artists are making it, and it matters in a more substantial way, I guess you would say. Although I do like that they are independent from these labels, because I think a lot of them wouldn't make it in the old guard the way it used to be. And I like the fact that they're making it now. I think artists like this should have made it then and didn't. A lot of them got sidetracked or derailed or just, you know, there were gatekeepers and they kept that gate, right? I'm also sick of the music press. I'm really sick of listening to, you know, what Rolling Stone or any of the other critics have to say about anything. They've always been a bit retarded. I mean, let's admit it. They made up their mind 50 years ago what they like and haven't changed since, it seems. And they get excited about stuff that goes nowhere and totally dismiss stuff that is really mind-blowing stuff. They've always done that. I mean, they hated Led Zeppelin, and they don't hate Led Zeppelin anymore because all the people writing for Rolling Stone now grew up with it. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I like the way people go about making music now. I kind of wish that the world would catch up. That the mainstream would catch up a bit to what's actually going on in the real world. Yeah, they've always been behind, though. Like I said, they always have. They were so behind on hip-hop. They kept trying to produce hip-hop in the early 80s. They kept trying to produce it in the same way they produced rock and roll, and you can't do that. This is a different form of music. They couldn't. Rick Rubin seemed to get it back then, right? He got it. Most of them didn't. They didn't get it. They didn't really get what was going on. And they totally screwed the pooch with it so many times. Those early Grandmaster Flash records and Run DMC and all should have been a lot better. They didn't let them do their things. If you see live clips, early live clips of any of those acts, they were way better live than they were on the album, and for good reason, because the record labels didn't know what the fuck to do with them. And they don't know what to do with all these YouTubers now, and it's ridiculous. It means that new music, what's getting promoted and pushed by the labels, just, I don't know, man. They don't know what they're doing with this. I'm hoping they catch up, and they catch up soon, because I'd like to see this stuff really make it into the zeitgeist, so to speak, because some of it is so good. And how long can they keep just living off of a dozen artists? Because that's what the labels are doing right now. They're living off of like a dozen or so artists, right? Even ones that are signed to labels, they're not getting the promotion they should. Like The Warning. I love The Warning. You guys have seen me do a lot of videos about The Warning. I think they're a great band, and I think they should be more top 40 than they currently are. It's like, why aren't you promoting this? This is really good. This is fresh. This is something that's really a thing. And I'm watching these kids claw their way up. They should get more help from the label than this. The label wants you to promote yourself now. They expect it. It's like, well, dude, isn't that your job? You're the one with the connections. You're the one with the, they can get songs on the radio. You're the ones that can, put up the money for doing really good videos, and you're the one with the access to producers and directors and all this stuff to make good music videos and better music. And why aren't you? Why isn't the label promoting it? I think they're missing. Well, it's because it's all about money, I guess, and I think they're actually missing some chances to make money just because they're slow on the uptake. But new music doesn't have to be bullshit. It doesn't have to be country top 40 is crap. It is crap. I've turned it on and listened to it. It's a handful of reasonably good singers. They find good vocalists. They really do. And then they just kind of groupthink these songs for them. Whatever happened to people that wrote songs that mattered to them? And I got nothing against, professional songwriting. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's really just become overly formulaic bullshit. What happened to really good songwriters, man? I don't think Willie Nelson would make it now. If he was just starting out, or Johnny Cash, or Waylon Jennings, would any of these guys make it now? Really, country music is crap. I'm sorry, these guys wrote songs with like some depth to them, and nobody wants that now. Just my opinion, but I'm watching some of the best artists of our current time just try in vain to claw their way up the ladder, and they should be getting more help than that. Their label should be helping them more than that. Somebody should be promoting this better. Some of these bands should be the next Nirvana, the next Metallica, right? One of these albums is the next Black Album, and it won't get the promotion. It won't become part of the zeitgeist like that. It won't be the album that's remembered for the next 50 years as a great rock and roll album, right? Because it's just not getting pushed like that. To really, for everybody to know who you are, somebody with connections has to have your back. And the people with connections don't have anybody's back anymore. Nobody. They've totally checked out. The labels have checked out. Universal Music Group and Warner and all them, they're great at copyright claiming videos, which is why none of us can play more than 5 seconds of a song. But they're total shit when it comes to actually promoting their own artists. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And they've got it bottlenecked where the streaming revenue is like a fraction of a cent per stream. That's on the labels. They did that. They bought into the streaming services and then throttled the amount that you can make on it. Because how much you make on radio airplay was decided a long time ago, before radio became huge, before record labels really were power players. Oh, but they were power players when streaming came in, so nobody makes shit on streaming. But hey, that's my rant. That's my thoughts on it. That's the end of my beer. I had a beer. I spoke my mind. Fuck the labels. And have you ever noticed they keep trying to push crap on us? I mean, really, there's so many good artists out there, and every now and then the labels really do get a bug up their ass to promote somebody, and you just listen to them, you're like, this sucks. Nobody's going to remember this in 50 years. But that's what they're pushing, instead of these really good artists. But whatever. Hey, it's not all the labels. It's not all. You got some independent labels that are pretty good. Check out Easy Eye. Easy Eye Sound. They're really good. That's what's his name from the Black Keys, the singer guitarist. That's his label. That dude perpetually picks great acts that are probably not going to make it big, but they're worth recording. I think I like his style. I'm trying to remember his name. Damn it, I can't. But I like his style because he's obviously picking artists that he likes, that he thinks are worth promoting, and I tend to agree. It's all over the place too. Blues, rock, country, soul, R&B. It's all over the place. He's picking acts, even instrumental music. He's picking groups that he likes that are worth recording, and then doing his best to promote them in the limited way that you can with an independent label. And I appreciate that. I've liked everything they've put out. So I'd recommend checking them out. And check me out. I'm also an independent artist. In a sec here, an end screen comes up, and there's some playlists. One of them says Talking Dogs. That's my new album. I'll put my music videos playlist up here too. You should check it out, right? I know I used AI for some of the stuff. Who gives a fuck? I'm doing this on my own, God damn it. I don't have people helping me. I got to use the tools at hand. Okay, and there's links to streaming down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I love y'all. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.